Shri Gurupya Namaha. This is Lakshmi from Pon Vidyashram. Welcome you all to this video. Today we are going to learn third chapter in Geography, Our Changing Earth. In previous part of the video, we read about endogenic forces, that is, about the volcanics and earthquakes. Now, in this part, we are going to see about exogenic forces. The various landforms of the Earth's surface are formed by the various endogenic forces which we have seen in the previous part of this video, that is part 1. However, the exogenic forces tend to reduce the elevation of the existing landforms. The exogenic forces carry out their work in two ways, weathering and erosion. Weathering involves disintegration and decomposition of rocks. A number of factors and agents such as heat, cold, frost action, plants, animals, and chemical reaction help in weathering. This process does not involve the movement of broken rock materials. Weathering is generally followed by erosion. It is a process by which the broken rock materials are removed from the place of its origin and deposited elsewhere. The main agents of erosion are running water, sea waves, moving ice, and wind. The transported materials are deposited at different places. Thus, different landforms are created by the agents of erosion and deposition. Let us move on to the agents of erosion. Number 1. Work of a river. When it rains, some water seeps underground. Some of it evaporates and the rest forms small streams. Many small streams join together to form a river. The place where the river originates is called the source. When the water of the river falls almost vertically down a steep valley side, a waterfall is formed. They are important because they can be used to generate hydroelectricity. There are thousands of small waterfalls in the world. The highest waterfall is Angel Falls of Venezuela in South America. The other waterfalls are Niagara Falls, located on the border between Canada and USA in North America, and Victoria Falls on the borders of Zambia and Zimbabwe of Africa, Jog Falls in Karnataka, and so on. When the river leaves the mountains and enters the plains, the flow is no longer swift. The floor of the river valley widens due to continuous erosion along its banks. The river twists and turns to form large bends or loops are called meanders. Due to continuous erosion and deposition, the meandering loops become almost circular and come very close to each other. In due course of time, the river is able to cut the strip of land between the two loops and takes a straight course. The circular loop that is left behind, completely cut off from the main channel, forms an oxbow lake. During floods, the river generally overflows its banks. The fine alluvial soil brought by the river is deposited on the valley floor. This fertile part is called floodplain. In the floodplain, the coarse materials are deposited along the banks of the river. Thus, long ridges of low height are formed along the banks. These are called natural levees. When the river reaches its mouth, it carries a large volume of water and alluvium. The excess load is deposited as sandbars in the wide river channel. This divides the main channel into several channels which are called distributaries. In this stage, triangular shaped land is formed between the distributaries due to deposition of sediments. This is called a delta. Next, move on to work of sea waves. Seawater performs erosion and deposition work through sea waves. It is also aided by current, tides and storms. The work of sea waves is also known as marine erosion and marine deposition. It is confined to a narrow belt along the coast. The erosional and depositional work of sea waves give rise to coastal landforms. Strong sea waves dash against the coast and dissolve or break down the rocks into fragments. Many large and small cracks develop on the rocky surface. In due course of time, these cracks become wide and form large cavities. With the continuous action of sea waves, these cavities develop into sea caves. Waves strike continuously over sea caves. As a result, cavities or caves become bigger and bigger, and in due course only the roof of the caves remain, thus forming sea arches. Further erosion breaks the roof of the sea arches and only walls are left. These wall-like features are called stakes. A steep vertical wall facing the sea is called a sea cliff. The sea also does the work of deposition. The tides and currents carry away sand and bits of seashells and deposit them at shore, and in due course of time a platform-like feature is formed which is called a beach. These beaches are used tourist places. Next, move on to the work of ice. The river of snow and ice which moves very slowly is called a glacier. A glacier can modify and sometimes totally remove the existing landforms and substitute them with new and distinctly different ones. Glacier carves out deep hollows along the slope of a mountain. When the glacier starts melting, its capacity to carry load is reduced. Thus, rock materials are deposited on the sides and floor of the valley. These deposits form glacial moraines. A moraine is any glacially formed accumulations of unconsolidated glacial debris like soil and rocks which can occur in glaciated regions. Now move on to work of a wind. When we compare the erosion by running water and glacial ice, wind erosion is relatively less important in changing the surface features. Wind is the most effective agent of the erosion in deserts. In the absence of moisture, rock fragments lie loose on the surface. Moreover, the absence of vegetation in the desert also enables the wind to blow freely. A strong wind carries with it a large amount of sand, dust particles, and gravel. These loose materials act as a tool in eroding the rocks. In desert, when wind erode the lower section of the rock more than the upper part, the mushroom rocks are formed. Such rocks have narrower base and wider top. They look like a mushroom. When the wind blows, it lifts and transports sand from one place to another. When the wind stops blowing, the sand falls and gets deposited as a low hill-like structures. These are called sand dunes. The depositional work of wind starts when its speed declines or some obstructions like trees, bushes, forest, buildings, etc. come in its way. The fine dust particles deposited extensively is known as loess. In the presence of water, loess becomes very fertile and forms a good loamy soil. These are the changes takes place in the earth due to weathering, erosion and deposition. These changes are not always sudden. Some changes may take years and centuries, while some may be sudden. Now, I completed the lesson. I'm going to read from the textbook. Page number 15 in Geography textbook. Major landforms. The landscape is being continuously worn away by two processes, weathering and erosion. Weathering is the breaking up of the rocks on the earth's surface. Erosion is the wearing away of the landscape by different agents like water, wind, and ice. The eroded materials is carried away or transported by water, wind, etc. and eventually deposited. This process of erosion and deposition create different landforms on the surface of the earth. Work of a river. The running water in the river erodes the landscape. When the river tumbles at steep angle over very hard rocks or down a steep valley side, it forms a waterfall. As the river enters the plain, it twists and turns, forming large bends known as meanders. Due to continuous erosion and deposition along the sides of the meander, the ends of the meander loop come closer and closer. In due course of time, the meander's loop cuts off from the river and forms a cut-off lake, also called an oxbow lake. At times, the river overflows its banks. This leads to the flooding of the neighboring areas. As it floods, it deposits layers of fine soil and other material called sediments along its banks. This leads to the formation of a flat, fertile floodplain. The raised banks are called levees. As the river approaches the sea, the speed of the flowing water decreases and the river begins to break up into a number of streams called distributaries. The river becomes so slow that it begins to deposit its load. Each distributary forms its own mouth. The collection of sediments from all the mouths forms a delta. Work of sea waves. The erosion and deposition of the sea waves gives rise to coastal landforms. Sea waves continuously strike at the rocks. Cracks develop. Over time, they become larger and wider. Thus, hollow-like caves are formed on the rocks. They are called sea caves. As these cavities become bigger and bigger, only the roof of the cave remains, thus forming sea arches. Further erosion breaks the roof and only walls are left. These wall-like features are called stacks. The steep rocky coast rising almost vertically above seawater is called sea cliff. The sea waves deposit sediments along the shores, forming beaches. Work of ice. Glaciers are rivers of ice which too erode the landscape by bulldozing soil and stones to expose the solid rock below. Glaciers carve out deep hollows there. As the ice melts, they get filled up with water and become beautiful lakes in the mountains. The material carried by the glacier, such as rocks, big and small, sand, and silt, gets deposited. These deposits form glacial moraines. Work of wind. Have you ever visited a desert? Try to collect some pictures of sand dunes. An active agent of erosion and deposition in the deserts is wind. In deserts, You can see rocks in the shape of a mushroom, commonly called mushroom rocks. Winds erode the lower section of the rock more than the upper part. Therefore, such rocks have narrower base and wider top. When the wind blows, it lifts and transports sand from one place to another. When it stops blowing, the sand falls and gets deposited in low hill like structures. These are called sand dunes. When the grains of sand are very fine and light, the wind can carry it over very long distances. When such sand is deposited in large areas, it is called loess. Large deposits of loess is found in China. Now I completed the lesson. I'll meet you with the next chapter. Thank you.